Only Boost Mobile.
Boost Mobile?
We'll give you a free year of service.
Free year?
When you buy a new 5G phone.
New 5G phone?
Enough.
But I'm your hype man. When you purchase an eligible device, you get $25 off every month for 12 months with credits totaling 1 year of free service. Taxes extra for the device and service plan. Online only.
The NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
89% of business leaders say AI is a top priority. But with AI tools popping up everywhere, how do you separate the helpful from the hype? The right choice is crucial, which is why teams at 1/3 of Fortune 500 companies use Grammarly. With over 15 years of experience building responsible, secure AI, Grammarly isn't just another AI communication assistant. It's how companies like yours increase productivity while keeping data protected and private. Designed to fit the needs of business, Grammarly is backed by a user-first privacy policy and industry-leading security credentials. This means you won't have to worry about the safety of your company information. Grammarly also emphasizes responsible AI, so your company can avoid harmful bias. See why 70,000 teams and 30 million people trust Grammarly at Grammarly.com/enterprise. That's Grammarly.com/enterprise. Grammarly, enterprise-ready AI.
Welcome to another edition of the TSS Podcast, brought to you in association with Luke 1977 and Bowden and Dolphin, with your hosts Rob Carless from Bob's Books and the legend that is Shaun Teale. He's here, there, and everywhere, and he's Tealey saying something.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the TSS Podcast, also known as the Tealey Sayin Something Podcast. As we know, this is something that we do on a bi-weekly basis, and we have the excellent Steve Teale. we have the excellent Shaun Teale, who we talk to about football and other related subjects. I did his book for him a couple of years ago, and his knowledge of football is good enough to have a podcast for him. Yeah. So we've got that in his honour, haven't we, Chris?
We have, yeah. And absolutely. His dog.
And his dog as well, as we can see on the screen there. Right, so hello, Mr. Teale. How are you this week?
Good evening, Rob. Good evening, everybody else. Steve, Chris.
I haven't introduced Steve yet, so can you take that back? How's things been going in the last couple of weeks, Shaun?
Very good. I've been 3 games at Villa Park, so that's kept me pretty busy, So, albeit on very cold nights, but hey ho, you can't pick your weather, can you? What
you've been doing, driving down and then driving back up straight after the match?
I always do. The only time I won't do that probably is when we come into the studio next time, because obviously we played Celtic the night before, so.
We do. Yeah, we do. So that's going to be an interesting conversation that we have. Now, did you do your usual stop off at the Greggs down by the bottom of the M6?
No, because I have to, because I'm all electric now. I have to go and charge my car.
Oh, listen to him. Oh, I forgot about the electric car, Chris. He's got that electric car, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
He eats tofu as well.
Oh, my God.
He eats tofu sandwiches in it now. So the ambassador role going well then? You're still doing the game?
It's quite nice this year because obviously they move us from a different area every game, so you're not speaking to the same people week in, week out. You get to meet quite an array of different kind of supporters, from your very corporate supporters to your basic fans. So I enjoy it. It's good laugh.
No, you do. And Villa fans appreciate you doing it as well. So that's the first compliment of the night there, Teale.
Yeah.
I played back the last podcast that we did. All the piss taking was on me.
Oh, yeah.
You two are definitely starting to gang up on me.
That's the plan.
It carried on WhatsApp as well.
It does carry on.
Yes.
It does carry on WhatsApp. Yes, I have to say it. Yes, I have to say it. You don't just speak it, you write it down as well, don't you? The piss taking. Absolutely. Chris, how are you doing, our producer?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Yeah, good. All good so far.
Good. Still atop of the league, I think?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what's going on with Gary Cook? This is being recorded on what's the date today?
It is the 16th.
The 16th today, yeah, right. What's going on with Gary Cook? I thought everything was going well in the Garden of Birmingham City this season.
At the moment, we know very little, apart from the fact that he stepped down for personal reasons, which could mean a whole host of things, I suppose.
A plethora.
Exactly, yeah.
A plethora of reasons.
Yeah.
What's the? I mean, obviously you run the Tilton Talk Show. What's the general consensus as to why? Because as we say, that can be a multitude of things, can't it?
It can be, but it's. I don't really want to say too much, really. But
do you know more than you can say? You do,
I don't know anything.
Shall I tickle him?
No,
to get it out of him.
No, but it does. I mean, personal reasons. It could be. You know what I mean? You don't want to say the wrong thing in case.
Yeah, I know.
It's something really, really bad. We don't know. Do we?
It seems to come out the blue, though.
Yeah. But no, wish him well.
Yeah, I mean, he did well at Man City, and he was doing a good job fronting what the American owners have wanted to do at your place as well.
Yeah.
So,
do you know why he left Man City? Or no?
I don't. I mean, he went from Man City a few seasons ago, didn't he? I think he was in when they were first taken over back in the late noughties.
Yeah.
And then I think he stayed there for 4 or 5 seasons, didn't he? On that one. But I guess it will all come out in the wash,
as I say. Yeah,
Chris.
Yep.
What effect will it have on the club? Do you think?
None whatsoever.
No, it'll just basically go as normal.
Yeah, just go on. Jeremy Dowell's sitting in, I think, and he's a good replacement. He'll sit in for a bit.
Right. So we just had a bit of a montage about the team that play in Royal Blue. Mm-hmm. Do you like the link here, what I'm going to do now? Do you like that one? I've just been thinking about that as you've been talking.
It's not like
right,
you.
So talking about Royal and royalty, yesterday we all started to see the pictures of Prince William, our very own, Aston Villa's very own Prince William, up in Liverpool in the Wetherspoons, as you do. I mean, you can't get more royal than that, can you? A Wetherspoons in Liverpool. At first I thought it was in Birmingham. I was trying to work out the pub, and then I saw that it was up in Liverpool, to where obviously Villa played Everton yesterday and won. So obviously that was a good day for us. When I looked at the picture, I'm starting to think, who's these Villa fans that are drinking with Prince William? I see the one and only Steve Jones on there. So Steve is also chairman of Chasetown Football Club, and he owns his own company, Crown Highways, as well. And Crown Highways were very instrumental, as well as some of his other business partners, in helping to bring out Shaun Teale's book a couple of years ago. So we've got a good affinity with the Chasetown lot. We're all on a big WhatsApp group, and it's good to see exactly what's going on with those guys. When I do come up to Birmingham, I will be coming to a game soon, or the Midlands, as it were. So I will be doing that. But I am pleased to say that on the phone, he's been on other things this morning. He's been on the small stuff like Talk Sport, and now he's on the Tealey Sayin Something podcast, and he's also going to be on local TV. I'm very delighted to welcome the man they call Steve Jones into the TSS podcast. Welcome, Steve.
So are you?
I'm good. I'd like you. I know we spoke about this just before we started and came on air, but I like the posh voice you put on this morning.
No, I haven't got I can let that go for this show, though, can't I? I can go back to me South Staff's Birmingham accent.
You certainly can.
No problem.
Although I did notice it was dropping every time he spoke to Gabby on the radio this morning. But there you go. So we love to see Prince William down at Villa with his son as well, whether that be a home game, the cup finals we've been in, Villa Park, away from Villa Park. It is great to see. But you had a drink with him yesterday in this Wetherspoons in Liverpool. So, Steve, tell us exactly how this came about.
Just a bit of facts there. It was actually Wetherspoons in Birmingham New Street.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. There's been a few contradicting stories. It was actually in New Street. So basically, what happened was on Tuesday afternoon, about 3:00ish, I had a random call for somebody at the villa to say, "Jonesy, are you going to the game tomorrow?" And I thought, "Oh, am I going? Should I be saying yes? Should I be saying no?" I said, "Well, what do you?" I said, "Why are you asking?" And they said, "He says, well, there's somebody we'd like you to meet." And what I'd like you to do is get a few like-minded fans together to meet this special guest in Wetherspoons in Birmingham New Street. So I'm there going, well, Birmingham New Street, Wetherspoons, are you sure? So who's it going to be? Because I'm supposed to be playing golf, so I'm not going to cancel playing golf if it's somebody naff to go and meet in Wetherspoons. And they said, well, it'll benefit you. Anyway, there's tweaking and playing around the houses. So it soon transpired after I asked the question, is it the owner? One of the owners? No, it's not them. But they've got from Royal Ascent. I says, well, is it Prince William? And they says, well, yes, it is, but you can't sell a soul. You cannot be telling anybody. So I quickly thought, oh, absolutely fantastic. What a great opportunity this is going to be. I quickly looked who were lounge members with us. So I could only choose a couple, well, 3 in fairness. So I just checked on their availability and I just said, listen, lads, you just got to trust me. Just be there. You won't regret it, but I can't tell you what's happening. So good as gold they did. So we rocked up about 1:15 in the Wetherspoons and the afternoon just kind of took shape from there, really.
So the people that you had that you obviously couldn't tell who was coming to it, did they have any inkling at all about, or were they wide off the mark?
No, they were wide off the mark. One thought we was catching a helicopter to the game. One thought actually that we was going to meet one of the owners and travel to the game. But obviously none of that. And as soon as I told them when we congregated and I said, listen, you've just got to, you can't get on your phones and tell anybody because it spreads like wildfire, as indeed the story has when we were there. And they were good as gold and they kept to it. And they was as shocked as I was when I found out.
Right. Okay. So go on then. You're all sitting down. How does Prince William appear? Does the Secret Service or wherever he has with him, do they appear first and make sure everything's okay before the main man?
Well, it was strange, really, because I don't like to be late for anything. And so we know we're meeting them at 2:30. So I'm thinking, right, 2:30, I'm going to get there at 1:10. So I get in with Wetherspoons. And Wetherspoons is packed. It's rammed. I don't know if you've ever been in there in the New Street. Anyway, always busy.
What's it called now, that Wetherspoons?
On the left as you go in.
It is Wetherspoons, just JD Wetherspoons in New Street, and it's as you come out on the platform, you come up and you turn left, and it's there, and it's a great place, but it's rammed, absolutely rammed. So I'm walking through, thinking, where the bloody hell are we going to sit? What am I going to do? So I'll keep walking to the rear of the premises. And I'll start moving these tables around. It's a little bit quieter over there. Anyway, the staff are coming over and saying, sir, you can't be moving the tables. I says, you've got to trust me. He says, please trust me. It all will become clear in a couple of hours. Anyway, so they wasn't too impressed, in fairness. So I moved these tables, so started congregating all these chairs around. I think there was six or seven of us. So I made sure there's 8 stools, one in the middle for my mate, Will. So that's there. So we're sitting there just tittering to ourselves and having a drink. And about 20 minutes after we'd done that, we started seeing some random people coming in and sitting round beside us who were obviously not regulars at Wetherspoon because they were drinking teas and coffee and dressed in tweed and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought, aye, they're not regulars. So after about 10 minutes of them sussing us out, they came to introduce themselves and they asked me by my name and my wife's name because we had to submit our names to Villa. They said, right, who's Jonesy, who's going? So I said, these are the lads and lasses who are going, and thought nothing more about it. But yeah, these guys came over and says, are you such and such? Are you such and such? I says, yeah, we are. I think it's fantastic. You've got a great table. This is where we plan to to have the table anyway. So as the afternoon wore on and people moved out of tables in the vicinity, they kind of took over. So one person would sit in that booth. So and when he finally came, so there was nobody got access to him, but it was fantastic. We just saw him coming through the glass windows there through the door, and just as nonchalant as you like. Yes, he had people around him, but he just sat down, introduced himself as William, shook all our hands, sat down, and says, "Right, let's talk about the Villa. And can I get you a pint?" So thanks very much. Yes, you can. So he sent one of his staff, and they came back 5 minutes later with a big tray of drinks.
Wow.
That is fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. What were the looks on the faces of everybody around when Prince William walks in? I mean, before you answer that one, Steve, so the Weatherspoons, the staff at Weatherspoons were not...
No idea. They had no idea.
Wow.
No clue. No clue at all. But obviously his staff had earmarked this venue purely because of its logistics, I guess, and I guess escape routes, I guess, transparency. I don't, because it's all glass, so you can see it from the concourse at New Street and whatever. So I assume that they decided this was the place, the best place and most secure place. But they were fantastic, you know, the staff. I mean, how many of them were? I've no idea, because they're that discreet. So absolutely, you wouldn't know how many there were. But they were fantastic, and like I say, you wouldn't know who was part of his staff or not.
What did I mean? We all know he's a big Villa fan. Every time you see him, whether it's with John Carew or somebody else, he's going as mad as the rest of us.
Do you know what, Rob? The mad thing is, yes, of course he's mad on Villa, and he's very knowledgeable about football. So, but he's mad, not only knowledgeable on Villa, he's knowledgeable about all football, like we all are. So we're talking about the previous game, the West Ham game, and how West Ham kind of shackled our double pivot and all this sort of stuff. And I'm there going, this is madness. But he really is very knowledgeable. Let's say not only about our club, but about football, about tactics, but about football in the whole. Absolutely, and he knows stuff about, know all about Malin, the new signing, and how many goals he'd got for Dortmund and all that sort of stuff. So just really good. I'm very, very impressed.
So if he's knowledgeable, if he supports the Villa and he's knowledgeable about football, then I'll tell you what, we'll get rid of Teale and call it Really Saying Something or something like that. What do you reckon?
I was waiting for you to say, does he know anything about Birmingham City then?
Don't be silly. He knows everything about football. Why would he know about Birmingham City? Okay, I mean, that's absolutely fantastic and a great thing to tell the grandkids as well, isn't it?
10 off.
Absolutely. We sat around this table and, we're talking as if it's an old school buddy. Do you know what I mean? It was that, and he was answering every question with normal chit-chat, absolutely great, and everybody felt at ease. So one of the first questions I asked the security people when they first came over is, how do we address him? Is it Your Royal Highness, whatever? And they said, you address him however you want. He's off. He's not working. So he's not on public duty. So to all intents and purposes, he's one of the lads. So we asked him the same question. He says, Will. But so we were just calling him Will. And he was calling my mate Jono and Jonesy and Johnny Mac and all this sort of stuff. Just normal, absolutely normal stuff. But it was absolutely fantastic. It really was, and I cannot sing his praises enough, to be perfectly honest.
So, are you on the front rows when he gets the coronation? Then, are you?
Well, my only reservation. I never took a business card, so I should say, there you go. Just send us a WhatsApp, and I'll put you on the Villa WhatsApp group. But it was great, mate, honestly. And what I can't believe, honestly, is at the time, so there were two freelance journalists who were Royal correspondent journalists, so they must have been freelance. But within 10 minutes of him going, they asked a few questions and took a couple of pictures. And within an hour, my phone was red hot, as was everybody else's. And it's bizarre. Like I say, I've got the opportunity to do this podcast. Fantastic. I'm on the news tonight. My mates are on the news. I was on Talk Sport, as you know. I was on WM last night. My mate's been on WM this morning. And like my son's gone to sixth form and gone there as a celeb today because, it's just highlighted everything. So it is a massive star, massive interest. And I just can't believe how it's all exploded, to be perfectly honest.
In terms of the media, obviously I heard you this morning on TalkSport. You talk about WM and the locals today. When did you start getting the phone calls about coming on this and that and the other? I know we did ours today, but
straight away, Dazale from WM phoned me, messaged me, and says, "Are you still there? Do you want to do the coming on the talk on the show?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." Unfortunately, I swore. I said it wasn't bad, but I did swore, and he had to apologise on my behalf. But it was straight away, absolutely straight away.
Brilliant news. I mean, it is wonderful. I love the selfies you've had taken with him as well.
That's the worst bit. So all the live footage of it is my wife and my son there having photos, and there's me walking up taking this selfie like an idiot. But listen, it was great. But I'm just so impressed with him as an individual, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think whether you're a royalist or not, you got to. We're in safe hands with somebody like Prince William. When he takes
absolutely
with Kate, that they are really good for the country, and hopefully they'll start beheading all the Blues fans as well at his request. But there you go. I don't mean that really.
It was just to tell you some little stories as well. So he, like I say, because of his knowledge, we was talking about PSR and about his involvement in his opinions on PSR, and he knew an awful lot. But he said, I can't make any statement because I'm the president of the FA. He says, but until such time, while I've got that job, I can't be advocating to anybody what the rules are or having my opinion. And it was just really, really refreshing to hear.
Yeah. How long was he there for, Steve?
About 40 odd minutes, about 43 minutes, something like that. And it went like that, because we was just...
did it just fly by?
Yeah, absolutely. Because he was asking as many questions as we were asking, because he was interested in us and what our time was at the Villa and what's our story about the Villa. And it just really interesting.
Did you give him any Chasetown stuff?
You know what? And then I never. So all the I didn't want to hijack it. We could have spoke for 2 hours. Honestly, there was other similar stories that we got a connection, obviously with Kate's recent illness and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So we could have spoke about so much other connected stuff because my wife was there and she's gone through a similar illness.
Yeah.
But we just never had time because we just never had a chance to kind of drift, and it just went so quickly. And I think he enjoyed it as well because his kind of security or his PA or his advisor told him on 3 occasions, "Sir, we need to leave now. We've got a train to catch." And she had to tell him 3 times before he said, "I really must go. Just a few photos. Let's have a few more photos. Then I've got to run." So I think he really enjoyed it. He just sat there drinking his beer or drinking his cider as it was, and just having a good old rattle about football.
Did he just have the 1 point?
He did indeed, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He must have had an off-peak travel card then or something if he had to leave that early. Absolutely.
Probably, more likely than Kate's probably said, look,
yeah.
Just 1 point.
But even catching the train back sounds weird to me.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there was no official car outside or anything like that.
But apparently that's the way he travels to... that's the way he travels to games generally anyway, with his one bodyguard on a train and trying to be as inconspicuous as possible.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So I remember him as a teenager wearing a Villa bubble hat that Doug Ellis had given him. And I'll come on to Doug Ellis in a minute because we're going to do a chairman special today. We'll come on to your bits in a minute, Steve, on that one. But I heard it was purely... all his mates at university were, the usuals, Manchester United, Chelsea's and all that. And he didn't want to go down that route. And Villa was the team that he picked at that time. Anybody got any views on that?
Well, that's correct. Absolutely. And one of his first games was when Villa played Bolton. And I was trying to think of the actual game, but one of his family members took him there and he sat in the old end with his woolly hat pulled over. Yeah. He says, and from that moment, he says, I was hooked. It was brilliant.
It's fantastic to have. I mean, you know, we've got the future king. We've got Tom Hanks. You know, and all that. And how's Jasper Carrot doing this?
Tom Hanks.
Wait, look, Tom Hanks has got a season ticket. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He just loves the name.
Exactly. I was about to say that, but I'm glad you said it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, Steve, as well as being, you know, somebody that hangs around with royalty in Wetherspoons pubs, I did think it. You know, that's why I questioned whether it was a Birmingham pub, because it did look like the Wetherspoons in town. I know exactly the one you're talking about. So I'm glad that you've cleared that up for me. Right, so Steve, as well as your business interests and Villa, you're also a chairman of a club.
That's right.
And that club being Chasetown.
Yeah.
So we've had the pleasure of going to one of your evenings, obviously when we did the book launch for Teale. How did you get into you know, becoming chairman of Chasetown? And what does a chairman? What role do you take there?
Involved, because as a business, Chasetown is based where my own business is, where Crown Highway's head office is. So it was. I mean, it must have been 14, 15 years now that I got approached to just come and have a sponsorship board, as I do with all local businesses. So yes, I had a sponsorship board, and one by one, because I love football, just put another few £100, had another board, and did something for them, and it just kind of grew from that. So I've sponsored them for a long time. I've been front to shirt sponsor, I guess, for about 8 or 9 years. And unfortunately, 4 years ago, the chairman, Mick Joyner, who's done a fantastic job, who's pulled the club from zero up to where it is today, had a couple of health scares. Obviously, he's cracking on, and he looked at, you know, looking around to see what the succession plan was, and looking around and didn't see too many candidates, being perfectly honest, but saw me. And he approached me whether I'd be interested. Had a little think, and ultimately came up with the answer that was yes, I would get involved, with the caveat that I wasn't going to be involved heavily on match days, because my passion and my love is Villa. Obviously, Villa's been in my blood since I was a 5-year-old lad when I supported them. So that was a good number of years ago. So I did that, and what does that look like? I don't have to get involved much, like I don't get involved much with my business now. I've got good staff at Chasetown, good staff at Crown Highways, whereby they do the day-to-day running, and I oversee and roll and try and influence and where I can, and try and make a difference where I can.
Okay, so obviously you mentioned there that the Villa come first, and you did say that on TalkSport that this morning. I did hear that part. So are you there in an advisory capacity then for the club? I mean, I know you get actively involved with them. I mean, it's quite obvious you're very popular. You know, even on our WhatsApp group that we're all on. You know, what is your day to day on there, or is it just completely that, you know, that come to you when there's a problem, sort of thing?
No, not at all. No, I'm involved. I'm like today, for example, I'm sitting with the general manager there, and we're going through our next tranche of invoices that need to be sent out for sponsorship. You know, advertising boards and whatever, because obviously we do annual invoices. So no, everybody runs everything past me. I think I like to make good decisions. The one things I don't get involved with is actually on the pitch. I deal with a management team regarding budgets. I mean, I had a phone call before we started there, just talking about how did Tuesday's game go? What's the plans for Saturday? Have we got any more transfer plans? Are we looking at anybody? So I love that aspect of it. And from a football fan, it's utopia, really. I mean, I absolutely love the fact. I mean, in the couple of 3 years I've been involved, to get involved with a player as well to try and get a deal over the line, I absolutely love that bit. But I don't generally get involved in it because that's the manager's job. But only if a player's not quite sure, and the manager will say, "Well, come and have a word with our chairman."
So, what league are Chasetown in, Steve?
So we're in the.
Tell us a little bit more about Chasetown.
So we're in the Northern Premier League, West Division. which is a bit of a pain, really. We appealed about going in that. The way the non-league pyramid is you get allocated where you play. So we are the most southerly side in this division. So in effect, we've got to travel the furthest. We've got to, we go as high as Clitheroe, but we do have Hensford and Stafford Rangers as two local derbies. They're Staffordshire teams. But we would love to play our football in the Midlands because it's less travel. There's bigger gates because fans haven't got to travel so far. But ultimately, we are where we are. It's a very competitive league. Teale will know all about this from his non-league days. But actually playing the Liverpool sides that we do in the Manchester sides and the Stokey sides, they are an awful lot more physical and brutal than the Midlands teams are. So the first year, which was 2 years ago, we got positioned in that league. We went up like playing the football on the floor, and we didn't cope with it at all well because there was too many snotters in everybody's team, and they were big. They're all 6'4", and so we have to change our style really just to compete. And the management team's done a fantastic job in that, and we currently sit just outside the playoffs, same amount of points as fourth position, but we placed fifth at the moment. So the way the non-league goes is one club goes up directly and then one goes up through the playoffs for the 4 teams. And we currently sit fifth at the moment on the same amount of points. So there's a long way to go. We're optimistic. We've had a number of injuries, as all clubs do, no excuse, but they're all coming back now. So we're looking forward to the second half of the season to really push on and hopefully get out of that league.
That would be great if that did happen. So in terms of you get involved if there's transfers that or there's something on the contractual side. Do you have the same things as what we've got in the professional league, that you've got a January transfer window and all that kind of thing, or can you buy players throughout the season? No,
there's no transfer window. The only window that there is come the end of the season. There's a cut off, so you can no longer sign any players. That's basically to stop teams going to sign every Tom, Dick, and Harry when you're on a promotion run. Yeah. So it's quite good, and the way it works is generally players are non-contract players. We only have got 2 contract players purely because clubs at our level can't really afford it. You've got somebody on X £100 a week and they're on a contract and they go and get injured for 6 months. We're left with that burden. Yeah. So generally, people are on just a pay and play basis. But if you wanted to come and sign a player for Chasetown, you'd put a notification in called a 7-day notice. So basically, you can't speak to that player until 7 days. It gives us a chance to speak to that player first and just make sure he's happy. But from our perspective, once you're actually through the doors at Chasetown, you don't really want to go and play anywhere else because it's such a good atmosphere. It's a nice atmosphere. And it's a vibrant, the Hensford game we had New Year's Day, we had 2,700 there. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that's regular, it's not, but that was our highest league attendance we've ever had. I beg your pardon?
What is the average then?
We're probably looking about 500, 550.
Yeah. That's a good gate then.
Yeah, it is. One thing that I loved about coming over to Chasetown, I think we did it on a couple of occasions before the actual book launch, is the state of your pitch. It's just a beautiful, beautiful pitch.
The new Boost Mobile network is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for life.
That sounds like a threat.
Then how do you think we should say it?
Unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for the rest of your life?
I don't know.
Until your ultimate demise.
What if we just say forever?
Okay.
$25 a month, forever.
Get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile forever.
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
The NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Well, we spent, to everybody who's listening, it's an artificial turf pitch. We spent basically £900,000 on that last week, so 18 months ago. We've probably spent about £1.5 million on the ground just doing infrastructure works on making it a pleasant, safe experience for supporters to come. I think it's massively important if the fan experience, be it at non-league, be it at league level. You want to go to a place, feel safe, and queue up for a pint and a pie and whatever without standing in pee or anything like that. So it's something we're very proud of, and it's something that we're on a journey, and we've only really just touched the surface. Really, we've got further plans.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a 21st century looking forward club, you know, in the way that the ground is presented and all that. When I was watching the Tamworth game, and we'll come on to them in a minute, that pitch looked strange to me. On Sunday, it looked very strange. But when I've seen, you know, stuff on your games, it's obviously different. And obviously we were there, as we've said there. Just so you know, Chris, we actually had the photo session for the book done at Chasetown.
Oh, right, okay.
So we went all around the ground, and in fact, we had it was just behind the goal, wasn't it? Or just in front of the goal, Teale, where we had the picture of you with the paint?
Yeah, it was.
The ironic thing is you came to the pitch then before we'd made all the changes.
Correct.
So if you get there now, you'll see a vast improvement.
Yeah, and Jonesy was out there on that day doing the painting.
No.
Yes, indeed.
He was doing some stuff as well, you know.
Wow.
Sunday morning, if I recall, Teale, when we went down there. Something like that. All right. So, I mean, that's a great insight into what a chairman does there from the levels that you're at. Teale, you've been very, very quiet, and obviously that's because you can't get a word in edgeways with Jonesy, as we all know. Tell us a little bit more about your relationship during your career, and obviously the main part being with Deadly. What was your relationship like with the chairman, you know, the clubs that you played for?
Well, to be honest, at Bournemouth, we didn't ever see a chairman. Everything was run by the CEO, which was Brian Teale, former Villa player.
Rest in peace.
And everything went through Brian. So any deals went through Brian, any problems went through Brian. He sorted everything out. And then obviously moved to Villa, and we've got Mr. Ellis. You know, and it was a different experience for me because I'd never had to deal with someone like Doug. And I have to say, for all that everybody or people say about him, he was only ever really good to me and my family. So, you know, I would never knock the man. He kept the club on a tight budget. He didn't, you know, we were very little debt, if any. And yet we still managed to A, finish second in the Premier League and B, win cup competition.
Mm. Was he more of a hands-on chairman than the rest of them that you worked for?
Well, put it this way, he was at the club every day. So he had a very.
Was he at Villa Park or was he at Bodymore?
Oh, he was at Villa Park.
Yeah.
We never saw him at Bodymore. Never ever saw him at Bodymore. If you wanted to speak to him about anything, then you had to get to Villa Park and go and speak to him. But he was always there. He was always available, or for the best part, he was always available if you needed to speak about anything. Which, let's face it, it's very rare that a player has to go and knock on a chairman's door to speak to him about anything. The one time I needed to speak to him was the night that Ron got sacked.
I was about to bring that up. Go on, tell us a story then. Come on.
Obviously, I wasn't in the squad that day, and I think we ended up drawing the game 4-4. And then,
no, I think we lost to Wimbledon 4-3, didn't we?
That's right. And Ron had obviously had a notification from Doug. Doug wasn't at the game to tell him he'd been sacked. And obviously it came on to, well, as it was then, teletext. So flicked that, found out he'd been sacked. Was over the moon, to be quite honest, simply because, you know, I wasn't in the team and I wanted to play football. So I don't think, you know, players are never happy if they're not playing. So we decided, me and Carol, we'd jump in the car and go and knock on Doug's door. So that's his old. knocked on his front door. Heidi, his wife, opened the door and basically said, "Oh, hi, Shaun. Do you want to come in?" So we went in. Doug met us in the lounge. And basically, I just said, obviously, I want to know where I stand because I was on the transfer list as well. So, it makes life becomes pretty uncomfortable when you're not playing and you're on the transfer list. You don't know what's happening day to day, week to week. You're not really involved in anything as such. So I went to see him, and he basically went straight at it. He went, "Listen, I'm not going to tell you who the manager's going to be, but I know who it is. I've had a chat with him, and he wants you to stay." So I was like, "Oh, right, okay. All right, well, if that's the case, then I'll come off the transfer list. I'll come and see you in the next couple of days and come off the transfer list." So that's exactly what happened. I went in the next few days and asked to come off the transfer list. And obviously, as we all know now, Brian Little got the job. And by the time Brian had got the job and settled in, his one of his first games was Leicester away, and he put me straight back in the team. And I ended up playing the rest of the season. So for me, it paid dividends going to see Doug because it settled me and I knew what was going on. Whereas, I had no idea before. Ron wouldn't speak to me. Ron just ignored me. It was my fault. Everything was my fault, not his fault. So, and that's just the way it goes in football.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it was Brian's first game, the Leicester away game. If I could be wrong on that. And he's on the show in a couple of weeks when we do a League Cup final special. But obviously he'd left Leicester to come to us.
Yeah.
Right. And a couple of years before that, your dad ran at Sheffield Wednesday on that first game of the season.
Yeah.
You and I have spoken about this at length. There was a bit of a difference, wasn't there, in how vicious, for want of a better word, the home fans were to each of those respective managers. I think Big Ron's was far worse. Is that right?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, from the minute we got anywhere near Sheffield Wednesday, near Hillsborough, there was things being thrown at the coach. We got off the coach, there was coins flying everywhere. All the Judas songs were coming out.
The dogs were barking.
Yeah, the dogs were barking.
It was quite volatile at Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. Take it forward, 4 years. Brian comes in after leaving Leicester. After he said he wasn't going to leave. He left, came in. And we went back, and it was I don't know, it was totally different. It was like, they were all grateful for what Brian had done there rather than being, angry at him leaving. So, and don't forget, he'd also took Alan Evans and John Gregory with him out of Leicester. So all of a sudden, there's the whole management team's up sticks and run down the road, down the 6-9 to Villa. So, but no, there was no animosity, really. Not that I can remember, anyway.
So that big thing with Big Ron, wasn't it? Is the fact that he said he was he did a 360 U-turn, didn't he? Because he said he was staying and promised the Sheffield Wednesday fans that he was staying. Then the 24 later had gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that certainly didn't help matters.
Yeah, very true. So obviously you had a good relationship with Doug Ellis. I had a road trip with John Gregory last year when we did the Cornwall Lions event, and some of the store. I mean, we stayed over like we did with you guys at Brian and Brian's house, but it was some of the stories he was telling me about Doug Ellis. I was in tears, absolute tears. But I can't say too much because I'm hoping Mr. Gregory will do a book with me one day. I kept asking him. I'm trying to sweet talk him at the moment into doing one.
I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of stories about Doug's antics and what he got up to and what he didn't get up to. His very famous own story is that he invented the bicycle kit. And he sticks to that, and he always swore blind. He invented it. So, that was Doug for you. Flamboyant to a point, but not not over flamboyant, but stuck to his guns. You know, I mean, I've seen him angry as well. I've seen him kick off at people in the offices. So, you know, he didn't take any bull off people.
So that's an example of a good chairman, right? In terms of what would be the complete opposite of that for you? I think I'm talking more about you when you was in the professional game. So you've obviously got Bournemouth, Villa, Tranmere, and Preston North End as well. Preston North End was only there for a short while on loan, but you know what was it like at, say, Tranmere?
Well, here we go.
I know what you mean. You say
the chairman was a fellow called Frank Core, who basically owned a builder's yard, and didn't really put anything into Tranmere Rovers as such. Peter Johnson, the ex Everton owner, became owner of Tranmere, and he was the one that financed the club. And I had some dues with Mr. Cork, shall we say, to the point of the day I signed, because I went down to Tranmere or up to Tranmere from Birmingham with my agent, and the deal was already done. Basically, I knew what the deal was before I even got into the chairman's room. And we got into the chairman's room. The secretary's there, the chairman's there, and we go through the details of the contract, and it gets round to Frank Corf to speak, and instantly he's trying to knock the deal down. So he's trying to save them 20 grand a year by knocking the deal down. And my agent's like, right, come on, Shaun, we're going. And we literally stood up and walked out the room. And I'm thinking, what the hell are we doing? Gets out into the corridor. He says, listen, by the time we've got to the end of the corridor, we'll be getting shouted back in. And as happened, that's exactly what happened. Someone came to the door, shouted us back in, we go back in. And the secretary, who, bless him, I can't remember his name, actually sat there and put the chairman right in his place and said, you can't do this because this deal's already agreed. You can't try and change the boundaries of the deal now. The deal is the deal. We either renege on the deal completely and Shaun goes back to Villa, or we get the deal done now. To which, tail between legs, he backed down and the deal was done.
Have you noticed that Jonesy's been taking notes there? for when he needs to negotiate.
What a worse one.
I'm intrigued to hear all these stories, you know. And it's like employment, isn't it? And I think they're just moons ago, aren't they, from the way that football was then to what football is now. I'm sure there's as many crooks in football as there was back in then, but certainly with foreign ownership now, I think there's so kind of divorced from it, and there's such a team and so many layers. I think it'd be if you got a current Villa player on here now and says what the owners like, they'll probably say, I spoke to them 3 times a season. Do you know what I mean? Just to say hello or something. It's the involvement now is probably not there. They're that far removed from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the old striker from the Sun newspaper, isn't it? Eric Openshaw was the cartoon character, and he was the local pork scratching maker, and he ran the club, and we as you say, we don't get that anymore. No. So have you noticed that in non-leaguers? Say that again.
You must have known him well.
Do you know what? I've had some pork scratchings before I came into the show tonight. That's the truth. You know me too well, Teale. You know me too. We need to go back to Sir Jones's place, because remember he did that cheese platter.
Yeah,
we did that cheese platter, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh God, I love that.
Get them in the Premier League, do you?
Yeah, you don't.
I've actually got one more funny story about a chairman. When I went to Motherwell after I'd been at Hong Kong for a year, and I came back, signed for Motherwell. And the chairman changed, and it was a fellow called John Boyle, who owned Direct Holidays at the time. And he brought Pat Nevin in as his CO as such, player CO, which is quite a strange title. And I had a big fallout with them over contract. And I actually got suspended by the manager then, Billy Davis.
Only Boost Mobile will give you a free year of service when you buy a new 5G phone.
Oh, like a BOGO.
A BOGO?
Buy one, get one, BOGO.
Well, technically, it's buy one phone, get 1 year. So Bop Goy.
Ah, Bop Goy. Get the Boost Mobile Bop Goy deal.
Bop Goy with Boost Mobile.
Bop Goy, Bop Goy, Bop Goy. This is the best idea we've ever had. When you purchase an eligible device, you get $25 off every month for 12 months with credits totaling 1 year of free service. Taxes extra for the device and service plan. Online only.
The NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And
is that it's the Nottingham Forest Billy Davies, isn't it?
And I'd actually gone in the paper the day before he suspended me and sort of put in I thought the whole thing was a joke. They'd offered me a contract, then nobody knew about this contract, blah, 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 and it went round and round and round, and it all came out in the paper on the Sunday. And I walked in on the Monday morning, had the paper thrown at me by Billy Davies. He's suspended, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, it's all true. I said, from the point of, we're just a piece of meat at the end of the day. And I think the chairman's led me down the garden path. The chairman's this, the chairman's that, the chairman's everything. I got a letter 4 days later from his solicitor threatening to sue me for slander.
What, the chairman? The Motherwell chairman?
Called him a liar.
Oh, right, okay. Just a little bit of violence going on in the Teale household there.
I told you it's rough up north.
He's got the Motherwell chairman with him.
Dog just went for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so, okay, we've had some really good stories there. We mentioned Preston North End. We've only got about another 10 minutes or so. It's gone really quick tonight, and we've had some really good stories from Steve.
Different type show.
Yeah, it's been a different type show. It's been more about the chairman. Yeah. So what I'll do is very quickly, we were going to do a piece on David Moyes. We'll talk about Tamworth in a minute and what happened over the weekend. We'll finish on that point as we've done a lot on non-league. But you played with David Moyes, didn't you, at Preston North End for a couple of games?
Yeah, I did. It didn't end well either, to be honest. I think I played 5 games in 3 weeks while I was on loan there. And the final game, me and Moyes were centre-back. And we went to Luton and left Luton 5-0 down. We got absolutely hammered, and we were awful on the day. Everybody, the whole team, really. It wasn't just me and Moyes, but yeah. I played with Dave for I think three out of the 5 games. I think Dave played, and it's just the way it was at the time. Dave was coming sort of to the end of his career. I was trying to find a new club at the time from Tranmere because obviously things had gone wrong there and I wasn't in the team there. So, but, I know David quite well, and he's took a tough job on now. I think they're going to really struggle. It's probably 3 out of 5 are going to go down, including Everton.
They didn't look good last night, did they?
But the one thing but they've just got to survive this year because of the new stadium.
That's all I've got to do.
Imagine going down to the Championship. Imagine going down with that stadium sat there. It'll be ridiculous. So,
yeah, 17th is all they need this season.
Yeah, and I have a sort of soft spot for Everton because I started there as an apprentice. So, and they're close to where I live. So, I do have a little bit of a soft spot. So, I don't really want to see them go down. Plus, the other thing is as well, we go there every year and win. So,
exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously there's a bit of an affinity between Everton and Villa, founder members of the league. It is the most played top flight game.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a special one with us playing at Goodison for the last time. Right, so here's a question for you, right? I always throw out a question, Steve, to these guys, right? Everton are known as what?
Fist.
No, what club? They're known as the... All right, I'll give you. I haven't asked this very well, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They're known as the People's Club.
People's Club, yeah.
Yeah, they're known as the. So right. So I'm not going mad, am I, Steve? They are definitely known.
Yeah, People's Club, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Who coined that for them?
Somebody Scottish.
Yep. And how long ago do you think?
I was going to say Barry Catholic, but I don't know if he's Scottish.
60s.
2002.
Oh, right.
I'm really surprised. It was actually David Moyes that did it.
Oh, I was just going to say David Moyes.
Oh, no, you never. You said somebody...
I was just reading about it.
Steve, just so you know, whenever we ask questions...
No, I was, honestly.
Chris is always on Google.
Oh, I'm not. I wouldn't even know to you.
Yeah, of course you wouldn't.
Do you know how old he is, David Moyes?
David Moyes, 61, 62. I think he's a year...
Yeah, 61.
Teale, you're 61 this year, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Yeah. I think it's not a rough lot.
2 years older than me.
Yeah, I don't think he's...
He just seems to have been around for so long.
He has, and I think he's done a good job. But we'll talk more about him in later shows. Also, I want to talk about Angie P, because I can't say his surname on that one there. But we'll finish... we've had some good stuff today. It's been a really good insight into non-league stuff as well. Let's just finish on the heroics and the efforts of Tamworth Football Club. First thing I noticed watching the match was it was absolutely great advertisement for the Snow Dome in Tamworth, because the way the cameras were, it was completely on the Snow Dome. So that was
not intentional at all.
No, not intentional at all. No. So we all know where they went after the game for that one. What a performance, lads! What an absolute! I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I went out. I came back with about 20 minutes to go. I put on my app. Just before I went onto the TV, expecting to see 5-6-0. And I ran to Claire, my missus, and went, Jesus, it's 0-0. I've got to put this game on now with 10 minutes to go. And they could have won it right at the end.
Yep, they could have.
Absolute best for me for the game is not the football, but for the at kick-off time when the net is not on the crossbar. And they have to go and get some electrical tape to put round. The keeper wasn't interested. He wouldn't take his gloves off, so he ain't doing it. That's a good. And he just kept thinking. They went to get a chair, and it sank. And like thinking, well, just somebody get on somebody's shoulders, which is exactly what they did. The biggest game in their career, and the net's falling off the top of the crossbar. Classic, brilliant, absolute flying colours for non-league. That's what non-league's all about. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a show. Teale's got a good view on this, because we spoke about this when we spoke about the third round draw. They're never going to go back now, lads, to replays, are they? Let's face it. The Champions League, they don't want to break away European League, so they're going to basically keep on with these Champions Leagues and whatever. And something has got to give, and that something will be the League Cup and the FA Cup on that one. Do you think that if that is the case and we don't go to replays, and I'll ask you this, Steve, first and foremost, as a chairman of the club, you get through to the third round, you are paired at home to Tottenham Hotspur, okay? You've got the chance of either playing it at your ground or going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, right? What are you going to do?
I think it's a decision you have with the football staff, isn't it? Obviously, you've got a far better chance of potentially winning a game by playing it at home. From a commercial aspect, it's the wrong decision. But what Tamworth did is generally to get to a first team home game at Tamworth, I think is £12. I think
right.
It was £42 for the FA Cup game, and there was 3,500 people there. They obviously took the choice to they would sooner progress than make a quick buck, because that's what by playing it at the Lamb, that's they gave themselves a better chance of winning the football match.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point there. To put the I mean you have a few people go, oh my God, you've seen what they've put it up to, but given that they couldn't play it, and is it still 50% share for FA Cup games, the gate receipts?
I would have thought so, but I would have hoped that Tottenham would have forgo any kind of fees, and I'm sure that was in the decision of where they're playing the football game as well. In fairness, yeah,
absolutely. Teale, question for you, right? So, okay, we're not going to have replays. It's not going to happen again, guys. That they are finished, right? But should we have extra time when theoretically your Tottenham Hotspur player is going to be far fitter than the painter and decorator that's playing up front and that's no disrespect, but you know what I mean, guys, by that. Do you think that there shouldn't be the extra time period and it should go straight to penalties, which is a bit more of a leveller? Because I turned around to Claire when it finished 0-0 and went 3-0 to Tottenham. You know, they're going to win this 3-0.
Yeah.
So if we're not going to have replays, should we do away with the extra time period? Teale?
For me personally, I think it should just go straight to penalties. And not just because of the fitness thing. I think extra time invariably for most clubs doesn't prove anything. You look at Arsenal and United. Extra time was sort of a nothing event for half an hour. You're just prolonging the fact that both teams aren't going to make a mistake or not going to want to make a mistake. So why not just go to penalties and be done with it and save all the messing around?
I think that's a better solution. If we're not going to go down the replay route, I think that's a better solution. Steve, what do you think?
My thoughts are, of probably the travelling fan, as a Villa fan going down to, for example, Spurs on a 5:30 kickoff on a Saturday or at 8 o'clock on a Monday, is all this extra time and then potentially penalties. You can't get bloody home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It is, particularly now, gone are the day. I mean, this particular FA Cup, we've started on a Thursday, so we played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And okay, I think the Tuesday, Wednesday games because the games got cancelled on the weekend. But it's now prolonged. And for those poor supporters who've got to get to and from said grounds, I just think it's so difficult now and so unfair.
So you're in agreement with penalties?
I'd do away with it, yeah.
Yeah, and I would. Chris, what about yourself?
Yeah, I would definitely do away with. I actually think penalties are really exciting. Don't you?
Well,
and as you say, a leveller.
I am when it's not England or Villa playing.
Yeah.
I do think they are exciting.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
What's it like in a penalty shootout, Shaun? I mean, you've been involved in probably one of the most famous ones at Villa and Tranmere.
And how many have you missed?
He's had I'm his author.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
All right, ask me these questions.
Yeah, okay.
No, he hasn't missed any. No, he's never missed a penalty.
Never missed one penalty?
Yeah, he's scored about 5-6 penalties for Villa and about double that in own goals.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't be that nice to you, Shaun. I had to get some kind of urine extraction out of that one. No, you never missed a penalty, did you, Shaun?
That's pretty good.
No, taking penalties and penalty shootouts never really used to bother me. I knew what I was going to do before I even picked the ball up. So it's a mindset thing, decide what you're going to do and stick to that. The ones that tend to miss are the ones that sort of change tack halfway through taking it and think, well, I'm going to place it to start with and then decide to blast it or vice versa. That's usually when it goes wrong. So I always used to just put the ball down, never look at the goalkeeper, walk away from the ball, wait till the referee blew the whistle, then turn and face the keeper and just lash it as hard as I can, and usually as straight as I could, because 99% of keepers move one way or the other. I was fortunate. I never missed one in my career. It
depends on your personality as well. I mean, you're a laid-back person, right? And you're now leaving the centre circle. And let's take the Tranmere game as the prime example there. Me and Steve are having kittens in the stand that day, right? You're walking up to take that penalty. What's going through your mind?
Just the same routine as I always had. Just thinking about, put the ball down. I've made my mind up. I know what I'm going to do. Even walking to the spot, it's an old cliche, but you sort of block the crowd out. You don't, because obviously we were taking the penalties into the Tranmere end that day. So, you get the usual as the shouts coming up and they're trying to put you off as best they can. But it's all about, it's a concentration thing. It's a mindset, you know what you're going to do. Stick to your guns. Don't let anybody get in your ear or, whether it be, well, we saw the whole thing with Emmy, didn't we, in the World Cup? With the
great kidology.
Yes, Algery. And fair play, he got into their minds, he got into their heads, and hence why they missed.
Yeah.
You've got to block all that out and just do what you can do, and just go ahead and do it. And listen, at the end of the day, anyone can miss a penalty. It's not it's not a foregone conclusion that every penalty is going to be scored. So if you stick to your guns and take the same penalty you always take, and the keeper saves it, then so be it. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, thank you.
As a Villa fan, you'll take penalties all day long if you've got Emi Martinez in the goal anyway, wouldn't you?
Never seen anybody like him before, Steve. Never seen anybody like him. And of course, that's where you got your nickname, John Wayne. Nobody's ever called you John Wayne since. So the commentary on ITV that day called him John Wayne. Ron Atkinson called him John Wayne. He's never been called John Wayne by Ron Atkinson. There you go. Right, we are sadly out of time, guys. We've got to let Steve go because he's on the national TV in about five minutes or something like that. Special thanks to, obviously, our sponsors, Bowden and Dolphin and Luke 77. Looking forward to having them in the studio in a couple of weeks' time. And we're going to have Teale in the studio as well.
Woo!
Going to be fantastic. Get
the wasabi peas out.
Yeah, that's it. The wasabi and the tofu. And can you make sure there's a charger outside for him so he can charge up his car? All right, just remember that.
And his vape as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's why he's really got that car for. You know, we know what your game is, Teale. Right, Steve. A massive thank you to you for coming on the show and obviously supporting the book as well. It is very much appreciated. We love what you did yesterday. So thank you very much for joining, Steve.
Okay, all the best, guys. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. See you in a couple of weeks. Take care.
Cheers. Thank you.
Up the Blues.
Shut up, you prat.
Oh, okay.
Only Boost Mobile.
Boost Mobile.
We'll give you a free year of service.
Free year?
When you buy a new 5G phone.
New 5G phone?
Enough.
But I'm your hype man. When you purchase an eligible device, you get $25 off every month for 12 months with credits totaling 1 year of free service. Taxes extra for the device and service plan. Online only.
The NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
89% of business leaders say AI is a top priority. But with AI tools popping up everywhere, how do you separate the helpful from the hype? The right choice is crucial, which is why teams at 1/3 of Fortune 500 companies use Grammarly. With over 15 years of experience building responsible, secure AI, Grammarly isn't just another AI communication assistant. It's how companies like yours increase productivity while keeping data protected and private. Designed to fit the needs of business, Grammarly is backed by a user-first privacy policy and industry-leading security credentials. This means you won't have to worry about the safety of your company information. Grammarly also emphasizes responsible AI, so your company can avoid harmful bias. See why 70,000 teams and 30 million people trust Grammarly at Grammarly.com/enterprise. That's Grammarly.com/enterprise. Grammarly, enterprise-ready AI.
And this week's episode is sponsored by The Gig in Acox Green, Birmingham. Our fantastic venue, bar and recording studio. Find them on all social media platforms. Just search for The Gig, Acox Green, Birmingham.